Love that little boingy riff from the Cars. Might have spoken a little too soon on the NFL, by the way. Looks like half, about 30 of the 49ers did kneel this evening at the 49er game. Interesting. So the 49ers, that's where it all started with Colin Kaepernick back last year. Seemed like a long time, right? But they're still going, apparently, a lot less than last week. And apparently, by the way, Raiders running back Marshawn Lynch entered the game today, or entered the locker room today wearing a T-shirt that says, everybody versus Trump. So Raiders running back Marshawn Lynch making a statement there. But apparently I haven't heard of any Raiders not standing earlier today. And by the way, I did that mention on the Dolphins kneeling, 3 of them, for for the American anthem, but standing for the God Save the Queen, the British anthem in London. That was apparently this morning, says Damon. That aired at 7 a.m. this morning. But apparently, actually, the crowd booed. Even in London, the crowd booed when those 3 players were kneeling. Interesting. I guess they could have been booing the national anthem of America, but I think it was the players. At any rate, 303-696-1971. Jennifer Kern's going to be coming up around the next hour when that launches here. I wanted to talk about, Paul Ryan this morning. You saw Paul Ryan if you watched the Sunday shows. Actually, generally, I watch them so you don't have to, and I can't tell you how much pain and suffering I save Backbone listeners by me going through that torture, watching the Sunday shows, which has one ultimate, relentless theme, that is the Trump bashing that has gone on from the establishment against President Trump from the moment he came down the escalator. That has been the theme of the Sunday shows. Of course, Paul Ryan goes on, talking to John Dickerson, Face the Nation, CBS. All the Sunday shows are the same. Even the Fox News Sunday, is it really very much different than any of the others? Chris Wallace? Not really, when it comes down to it. But you'll notice that Ryan and Dickerson, very collegial. You can sense that Paul Ryan he's on his home turf here to be doing an interview on the Sunday shows. I mean, this is his element. These are his people. Republican Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. And, they get into a question or two, but Paul Ryan has some advice for President Trump, and he needs to be more inclusive with people. The inclusive word. Paul Ryan is the expert in inclusion, apparently. Do you think that is the case? You a big fan of Paul Ryan? Anybody out there? I never hear anybody actually liking Paul Ryan. I wonder if he actually even has any kind of a constituency when it comes down to it. And again, this is the guy who's failed to replace and repeal Obamacare and failed on pretty much everything else I can think of ever since he became Speaker. The guy seems to be more comfortable being in the minority. Republicans don't really seem to like being the majority, having a Republican Speaker. What do they do with it? They do not much. But yet, Ryan's got his advice. Why don't we hear a little bit of this interview this morning? See what you think of Paul Ryan's expertise at inclusion, right? Here we go. Paul Ryan, John Dickerson.
A year ago, we talked about race relations in the country, and you said you hoped candidate Trump would be inclusive. You said he's new at this. It's been a year now. How would you rate his ability to bring this country together, which has clearly an issue with race?
Like I said on the Charlottesville thing, there were like 3 comments. One of them was great. 4 comments, I think. 2 good, 2 bad. I think, like I said before, he's learning. I know his heart's in the right place.
How do you know that?
I've had some candid conversations with him about this, especially during that time. I've had some very candid conversations, and so I do really believe his heart's in the right place. I think what matters is that we have to show people that we are an inclusive society, that we want everyone to succeed. And I think there's more that all of us as leaders have got to do to be inclusive with people and make people feel like they're included in society. And I think we got long ways to go, just as a society and a country, for that.
Here's the criticism.
Okay, and let's pause it right there for 1 second. He's learning. Paul Ryan, the expert at inclusivity at conveying to the American people that, yes, they belong in America. He says that President Trump is learning. How does that grab you? I mean, do you think that President Trump needs some advice from Paul Ryan? Do you think Paul Ryan has anything to learn, like about how to keep even one of his campaign promises? Especially getting around the corner on Obamacare? What do you think? Do you think Paul Ryan has a few things to learn, just maybe? How's his leadership been? Has he been inclusive? Has Paul Ryan been inclusive in helping the Republican Party voting base, Republican voters, feel included in the Republican Party agenda? Seems like Paul Ryan's goal is to make everybody but Republican voters feel included in what's going on. That's just my opinion. I don't know if you'd agree with that, but it seems to me that, this sort of, the condescending attitude that, well, Trump, he's learning, and, he has to do more to bring this country together. From this guy, I don't know. Let's continue. A little bit more Paul Ryan in his element on the Sunday show, CBS Face the Nation.
You know it with respect to the NFL. The president makes the case for those who see the kneeling at football games as an act of disrespect, and he argues about patriotism. He never mentions the reason that the players, some have chosen to kneel, and what that's about. Yeah. Should that be addressed by a national leader? Isn't that part of the conversation? Well, there has been conversation. We've had these police shootings, Ferguson. That has been a national conversation. No two ways about it. We do hearings on this. I set up a task force last year after the police shootings, bipartisan task force. But I mean, as a president, so, he's spending time on one side of the argument. Yeah, but suggests, in fact, holding the opposite view and being concerned as an African American. But I do think he's got a point, which is what I think a lot of people who are protesting on that don't necessarily see is that other people see it as disrespecting the country, what it stands for, the flag, and the people who died to protect it. So I think clearly people have a right to express themselves in the First Amendment however they want to. But what so many Americans, I see this at home, see is you're disrespecting the idea of America, that we want to make this free country a more perfect union, and that people have died and fought and survived to protect it. So they don't see the point that they're trying to make. All right, Mr. Speaker, thanks so much for being with us.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. And I don't know, would you say that was a fairly tepid interview, pretty low-key, sounding all the right notes? But I didn't also like that, where Paul Ryan assures John Dickerson of CBS that President Trump's heart is in the right place. Oh, yeah, because, Paul Ryan knows when somebody's heart is in the right place, as of course Paul Ryan's is, with his open borders, globalist, free trade, pro-NAFTA mentality. That's when your heart is in the right place, because it's not about having a sovereign America. Yeah, but I am assured. And he went out of his way to assure Dickerson that his heart's in the right place. And Dickerson was skeptical at first. You hear him say, well, how do you know? How do you know his heart is in the right place? I mean, what if it's not? But then Ryan did go to bat again and say, oh, no, it is. We've had conversations. We've had private, off-the-record conversations in which President Trump assured me his heart is in the right place. Rest easy, everybody.